Yes. Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Sasie, and I'm a country manager of Anova marketing research consultant. And along with other titles, I'm also a practicing psychologist and a co-founder of COVID Thailand Aid. And you can see we've been very busy since COVID, and I've spoken to over 126 communities, over more than 80,000 families that we have helped in terms of care packaging and packages and donations, and also in terms of mental health, working with the government as well. So this issue that we have been dealing with the COVID crisis is not yet over in terms of the economic crisis that we're seeing in Thailand. Anyway, the topic of my talk is the triggers to revive. Now, I labeled this as big changes are happening fast. Now, this is based on the research that my team has helped collect data since September. And we had the findings late September, and we just wanted to share the findings with you. So, Nisha, I can't move the slides. Okay, never mind. Okay. I still can't control the slides. Maybe it's better that I share slides.
Yeah, I think somebody else has just moved it for you.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh.
Okay.
Can we go back to the slide on not you, Kunicha or somebody, could you just bring up the slides again, please?
Okay. Okay. Can you all see my slides now then?
No. I think you have to share them again.
Yes. Okay. Let me do that again.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, that's good. Thanks, Nisha. So the first wave, actually, this is only the first wave. We now are planning to collect this data on a more regular basis. So in September, we collected the findings from the survey of 600 individuals nationwide. And we personally talked to 60 individuals in the 4 regions among the 4 generations. So we did this all over Thailand, and these were among the urban populations. They're a little bit more progressive, so we get to talk to them and their ideas about the next generation. Okay, so we wanted to see from the consumer's perspective, what is it that what are they expecting in the next decade? So we had the sample from Generation Z, Millennials, Gen X, baby boomers, okay? So altogether we have 600 individuals that we did the survey with, and then the 60 individuals that we did the IDIs, okay? All right. So the overall findings that we found, I think it's best to put into these acronyms, and we call this Rivive. Overall findings seems to give us this direction that there are expectations of major reforms, their expectations of a sustainable environment that they want to see in their world. There's definite changes in their values and purposes. There's innovations that they expect to have and actually to use and to obtain, and they also have this these expectations and acceptance in a way that the whole world now is going to be virtual. It's going to be very visual, and it's going to be more dominated by videos. And lastly, even though everything is going to be all big data and AIs and robots, they still think that they deserve a customized experience, and actually they think that a tailored personalized experience is the way to go for the next decade. So that's the overall expectations of our customers. Okay, in terms of the findings on the reforms, we asked them about the ideas on the reforms and the basically what is it that they're looking for. So as you can see, the percentages of each of the generations here, this are the results of the top 3 boxes on the agreement statements on how strongly they agree with that all institutions that do not add values that needs to reform or rebuild. Okay, you can a big number of proportions of the Gen Z and the younger people here, millennials, even the baby boomers have agreed that the majority of the Thais believe that the old institutions now should reform itself to catch up with the changing societies. What are the things that they are really expecting to have the reforms on? We're looking at Gen Zs, and number 1 is education. That's a big number there. 6 out of 10 are saying education is the number 1 area that needs to reform. Public health is another institutions, and in terms of the environment, natural resources and the conservations of the environment comes in, about 30% here. Millennials talking about the public transports, there's expectations of a major transports that needs to reform in the country. Again, environment and public health. Gen X, those people who are married in their 40s, they're talking about technology all around them has to be reformed. Even the clean energy they're talking about has to be reformed, and education for the kids. And baby boomer, of course, talks about medical and health issues that needs to be reformed. So that's the number 1 area of findings that we found, is that people are expecting that the next decade, they're gonna see a lot of reform and revolutions in these old institutions that do not now add value, okay? In terms of the areas of the findings in the environment, this was a big trend that we also found, that the majority of the Thais would now at least try to actively make changes to save the environment. So the percentages here are the people who agree that the next decade, they agree that sustainable environment will be where nature, animals, people's environment are now interconnected. So with the COVID, they are seeing that this is a one health, one world. Everything is very much interconnected. And the number 1 in Thailand, it says, what are they willing to do is to go no plastic bags. Number 2 is planting more trees or leaving the forest alone. So basically reforestations. And number 3 is waste separations. The numbers are still relatively lower in terms of the different activities or how that they are going to go about having this sustainable environment. But we found that the younger generation especially are moving towards that. They are seeing that sustainable environment is the way to go for the next decade. The next the trend that we are seeing is the values and purposes that are being changed. And as I think people living in Thailand and overseas have seen in the past months, is that we have been having demonstrations. We did this research in sort of like late August and early September. And it wasn't so strong then, but I think that if we do research right now, it will be even stronger. So the percentage of the people here who have who agree that the values in our society are changing. The values, the purposes, the social norms of people are changing. And the number 1 thing that they voice out is that seniority in Thailand will continue to be challenged. So the Generation Z, the Zoomers, are talking about they're challenging what they have learned in terms of the climate change, of pollutions and the environment. So they wanted to see more end-to-end process about where the waste go, how they can have sustainable environment. And another values that we found among this group is that they're basically voicing out strongly that seniority is not always correct. The millennials also share this point of view, and they strongly talks about the LGBTQ and others, talking about justice, talking about equalities for all the segments and everyone living in harmony. So that's the value and purposes that we are seeing changing in terms of gender roles and expectations. So, and the ability for people to accept one another. Gen Z talks a lot about work-life balance and ideas and values towards family. So they're now questioning if it's, because of the COVID, they have been working at home and a lot of people have enjoyed the time at home and they were able to balance work-life balance and the family life. So they're talking about those value and purposes and changing in occupations in such a way that they can maintain that work-life balance. The baby boomers talking about upskilling, upgrading themselves in technology, and 30% of them accept that seniority is not always correct. It's not always the right value. The next trend that we found is the innovations idea. The majority of the Thais says that they will definitely adopt technologies to their lives and for comfort, and they will trade off basically privacy. This, you look at the numbers here, it's like big numbers for all the generations, especially the millennials and the Gen Z. Even the baby boomers and Gen X are nearly, 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, almost half are thinking about adopting all types of technologies for the comfort in life. The Gen Z are definitely going for e-wallets, anything that is not cash, all currencies, crypto currencies, all the changes, all the points redemptions, and live streaming and live translations. They're talking about the way that they don't need to learn language anymore. They do need to understand language. They think it's really important, but they think that anything, if they do TikTok, if they do any live streaming, it will be automatically translated. So it's automations is coming into their lives and to help ease them and connect them and even give them more of a convenience and comfort. Millennials talk about AI, robot, machine learnings, anything that would help them in their work. And a few of them talk about carbon footprint applications, trackers, anything through QR codes that makes them link to how it is that they can actually better the world. Gen X talks about voice activations, facial recognition in financial industries. I think a lot of them have already experienced the facial recognition through their banks, facial ID and the iPhone. So they're thinking that eventually a lot of the iPhones, a lot of the technology that they're using right now will be voice activated facial recognitions. So that is the innovations that they're looking for. And when they come home, there's smart TV, smart car, all the smart objects. That's the expectations of about 10% of this group. Baby boomers talks about in terms of the mobile clinic, medical delivery, even online consultations. Visuals, virtuals, visuals, videos. So they are now imagining their world in the next decade to be more virtual, visual, and video. And they are willing to trade off the privacy. The Gen Zs, the millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers, you look at the triple V trends that says that Gen Z says, hey, you know what? There's a lot of exchange of people out there in the world. So they want to have a lot of as many online accounts as possible on all types of social media platforms. And they want it to be in terms of the people who give the content as well as the people who receive the content. So they are definitely playing that active role. So 40% of the millennials talk to us about work from home, learn from home, that ability to be visuals, video, and to be on videos all the time. It's fine with them. They think that is going to help them in the long run. And basically online schools is a business that's coming in, occupations that you can earn money, just from your home. That is going to be the trends for the millennials. For the Generation X, they talk a lot about in terms of investments, opening bank accounts online, financial consultants, and baby boomer once again talk about online medical consultations, even though it's still a small number, about 10% of the baby boomers talking about this. But we're seeing some emerging trends here about how they are thinking that the next decade that would be something that they would want to go towards. And finally, in my last chart here, it talks about that even though that they're looking for this world that is full of technologies, even it still have this work-life balance and also the balance of the sustainable development and sustainable environment. What is it to them? Do they want to be just one among the masses, among the billions? The answer is no. They want to be seen as singular customer journey, customer experience that has to be personalized. So they think all this data that is, in the world that is going through in the cloud and all the analytics will be better for everyone to be able to, at the end of the day, it would serve them as a customer to be have a tailor-made kind of customer journey. So this is true for Gen Zs and millennials more than Gen X and baby boomer who expect the customer experience to be personalized. The Gen Z talks about in terms of mixed match fashion and the education and career opportunity, even though that's only 5% right now for the career opportunity because Gen Zs are still kind of young. They still feel that they will be able to mix kind of tailor-make their online schools or even do a half and half homeschool in a way that will give them the path to their career opportunities. The millennials talks about the shopping, personalized offers, and personalized in terms of traveling and routing experience to be unique. Gen Z, home and real estate designs. These are the things, the designs that they expect to have the targeted customer experience. And baby boomer talks about in terms of the health treatments again. So overall, those were the findings that I wanted to share. And again, these were just the first wave. We collected the data in late August and then September. We'll do it again next year in January, or if not, then early February. So if you don't remember any of my slides or the figure, because I didn't want it to go through the specifics, just remember that the findings right now in terms of the trends that we're looking at from the customer's perspective is under the trends of Revive, to have expectations of reforms, in particular in education, public health, in terms of social justice and finance. There's a sustainable environment that they're looking for in terms of the global one world, one health, everything is interconnected. Values and purposes are changing, especially the values that, in terms of seniority values that they don't think are all, terms changing values. A lot of the in terms of their the way that looking at the worldviews are changing as well. Innovations, with the IV, a lot of the triple Vs of the virtual world, visual worlds, and videos, which they're willing to trade off in terms of privacy. Again, that's the trends that we're looking at, and the customized experience. Okay.